Let's have a look at how well you know the respiratory system. Got 20 questions for you. A function of the respiratory system is to provide an entry to the body for air, food and drink, provide the body with oxygen and remove carbon dioxide or CO2, pump oxygenated blood to the whole of the body, provide the body with CO2 and remove oxygen. As ever, if you need more time, just pause your video. Question 2. Function of the respiratory system is to cool inhaled air and remove moisture, warm inhaled air and remove moisture, warm inhaled air and add moisture, cool inhaled air and add moisture. Question 3. Components of the respiratory system include trachea, lungs, ulna and bronchioles, lungs, heart, alveoli and intercostal muscles, pharynx, larynx, pleura and diaphragm, bronchi, pleura, pulmonary artery and pulmonary vein. Question 4. The sense of smell is a function of the respiratory system. The sense of smell is known as olfaction, diffusion, osmosis, nufaction. Question 5. Questions 5 to 10 are labelling questions. So if you just in your answer sheet put the letter next to the question number. Moving to question 11. The tubular passageway, composed of between 16 and 20 C-shaped rings of hyaline cartilage, is the pharynx, trachea, larynx, bronchi. Question 12. This is the medical term for the throat. Pharynx, trachea, larynx, bronchi. Question 13. This is part of the lungs. The right side divides into 3 branches, each supplying a lobe of the lungs, and the left side divides into 2 branches to supply the 2 lobes of the left lung. So what are we talking about? Is it the pharynx, the trachea, the larynx, or are we talking about the bronchi? Question 14. This is a short funnel which links the pharynx to the trachea and it contains the vocal cords. Is it the pharynx, trachea, larynx, or bronchi? Question 15. The right and left lung each divides into a different number of lobes. Which of the following statements is correct? The right lung has 3 lobes because the right-hand side of the body needs more oxygen. The left lung has 3 lobes because the left-hand side of the body needs more oxygen? The left lung has only 2 lobes to make room for the heart, which is bigger on the left-hand side. The right lung has only 2 lobes to make room for the heart, which is bigger on the right-hand side. Don't forget, at any time, if you need more time, just press pause on the video. Question 16. Which muscles are involved in breathing? The intercostal muscles and the heart, the diaphragm and the heart, the diaphragm and the intercostal muscles, the intercostal muscles and the pectorals. Question 17. A relaxed diaphragm is flat, dome-shaped downwards, so a dip, stretched. Question 18. During external respiration, where does gas exchange happen? Is it in the heart, bronchioles, pulmonary artery, or the alveoli? Question 19. What happens to the blood during gas exchange in the lungs? It gains oxygen and loses carbon dioxide. It gains oxygen and loses carbon monoxide. It gains carbon dioxide and loses oxygen. It gains oxygen and water. And finally, question 20. What happens during internal respiration? Glucose is broken down into its component parts. Water and carbon dioxide create energy. Glucose and oxygen create energy. Oxygen is produced from glucose and water. Let's have a look at the answers. Answer 1. A function of the respiratory system is to provide the body with oxygen and remove carbon dioxide or CO2. Although food and drink enter the body through the same tubes, this is not a function of the respiratory system. The heart pumps oxygenated blood to the whole of the body, and it is not in the respiratory system. So the answer from these 4 questions, the one that's right, the function is to provide the body with oxygen and remove carbon dioxide. Answer 2. A function of the respiratory system is to warm inhaled air and add moisture. Inhaled air is warmed, moisture is added, and small particles are trapped in the ciliated epithelium, which lines the whole of the respiratory tract. So cilia are tiny hair-like projections which beat together to move dust and mucus out of the respiratory system. Answer 3. Components of the respiratory system include the pharynx, larynx, pleura, and diaphragm. If we just have a quick look at the other ones, option A, well, the ulna is a bone. Number B, the heart is in the circulatory system, and the intercostal muscles are in the muscular system. And look at option D. The arteries are and veins are in the circulatory or circulatory system. So it is important to know what elements are in which system. Question 4, the sense of smell is known as olfaction. So we've got the diagrams labelled here. So if you just work your way through those. Answer 11, the tubular passageway composed of C-shaped rings of cartilage which stop the passageway collapsing is the trachea. Answer 12, the medical term for the throat is the pharynx. Answer 13, the part of the lungs which divides into 3 branches on the right and 2 branches on the left is the bronchi. So the bronchi then turns into bronchioles. The short funnel which links the pharynx to the trachea and contains the vocal cords is the larynx. So why is the lung different on both sides? Well, the left lung has only got 2 lobes to make room for the heart, which is bigger on the left-hand side. The heart is actually central, but the left-hand side is bigger. It's more muscular because it has to pump blood all through the body. Think about the right-hand side of the heart. What that does is pump blood to the lungs, pick up oxygen, get rid of carbon dioxide, and then pump it back. So that doesn't have to go very far. The blood doesn't have to go very far, so the muscle doesn't have to be big. So the left-hand side of the heart has to pump all the way down to our toes and our fingers. So it is bigger. 16, which muscles are involved in breathing? The diaphragm and the intercostal muscles. Revision, breathing in or inspiration. Inspiration starts when the diaphragm contracts, which causes it to flatten. This increase in volume in the chest. This increases the volume in the chest, which is in the thoracic cavity. At the same time, the intercostal muscles between the ribs contract and pull the ribs upwards and outwards, which further increases the volume of the thorax. The increase in volume forces the lung to expand, so air is drawn into the lungs and the air sacs fill with air. Gas exchange occurs at the alveoli, the little sort of grape-like things at the end of the lungs, and that's where the oxygen from the air diffuses into the blood, and the carbon dioxide from that the blood has picked up as it's gone around the body goes back into the air. Breathing out or expiration. Expiration starts when the diaphragm relaxes and causes it to raise and become domed. At the same time, the intercostal muscles relax, allowing the ribs to move down and in. This reduces the volume of the chest and air is pushed out of the lungs. Answer 7, a relaxed diaphragm is dome-shaped. When we breathe in, it flattens. Answer 18. During external respiration, where does the gas exchange happen? In the alveoli. I know they're not little grapes, but I think of them as little grapes, 1 cell thick, and so that the oxygen and the carbon dioxide can diffuse through them, like a little bunch of grapes. Answer 19, what happens to blood during gas exchange in the lungs? The blood gains oxygen and loses carbon dioxide. So the body needs oxygen to create energy, and it produces carbon dioxide as a waste product. So the blood in the lungs during gas exchange takes oxygen from the air and loses the carbon dioxide. So the air you breathe out has got more carbon dioxide in than the air you breathed in. And finally, what happens during internal respiration? Glucose from your food and oxygen together create energy, and that's termed internal respiration. So internal respiration has nothing to do with breathing. It's the process of the body creating energy from glucose and oxygen. So that's the end of the quiz. I hope that helps.